Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video, I'm going to be comparing the GMC Sierra AT4X to the Ford F-150 Tremor to see which off-road truck is best. Before we get in this video though, a huge shout out and thank you to the Kengar Ford in American Fork, Utah for giving me some time with the Tremor, and then to the National GMC also here in American Fork, Utah for giving me some time with the AT4X. So I'll include a link to both the websites in the description down below. And then on a side note, if you want to save time and money the next time you purchase a car, link to my car buying guide in the description down below. Let's get into it. Powering the GMC is a naturally aspirated 6.2-liter V8 that goes through a 10-speed automatic transmission. Fuel economy is 14 around town and then 17 on the highway, with power outputs being 420 horsepower and then 460 pound-feet of torque. Now, powering the Ford is a twin-turbo 3.5-liter V6 that goes through a 10-speed automatic transmission. Fuel economy is 16 around town and then 20 on the highway, with power outputs being 400 horsepower and then 500 pound-feet of torque. Now, before we go over the front ends, I do want to mention, if you want to see more videos just like this, then I recommend you subscribe because I post content every single day. So starting with the AT4X, this has the AEV edition package added to it. That's actually not why it has the front bumper, because even regular AT4s now have that front bumper. But regardless, really cool, like boxy, aggressive looking front end overall. And I think this is a really good look for the AT4X. Now, when it comes to ground clearance, this has just over 11 inches, which is really solid for an off-road pickup. Now, with the F-150 Tremor, you can see they do custom stuff like the venting there on the hood. And a lot of people have been trying to tell me that this trim is orange. And I'm going to tell you guys that either I'm colorblind or you're colorblind, because that is definitely gold. Like, that is as gold as it gets, and the tow hooks as well. But regardless, really cool looking front end, and then ground clearance is just under 11 inches. So the AT4X actually has more ground clearance. But seriously, in what universe is that orange? Now, with the AT4X, we've got 33s wrapped around 18-inch wheels in the front and over in the rear as well. And then you guys can see we've got like the rock rails here on the side, and of course the AT4X badge as well. And then here's your full side view. You've got these custom fender flares that are part of the AT4X AEV package. And then you can see it's got this kind of like, again, boxy look. Now, with the Tremor, we also have 18-inch wheels, and we also have 33s here in the front and over in the rear. Notice we got like the Raptor style side steps. And then you can see with the F-150 Tremor badge right there. There's actually also Tremor there in the rear as well. Anyways, taking a look at the side view here of the truck, you guys can see standard F-150, but with aggressive off-road tires. And something people have commented with the Tremor is they don't like the rake. You guys can see the back end's quite a bit higher than the front. Now, up front, both trucks have independent front suspension. We've got Multimatic shocks on the AT4X, and then we have monotube shocks in the front with the Tremor. And then we've got twin tube here in the rear. Notice we got leaf springs. And then we got, again, the Multimatic here in the back with the AT4X, and then leaf springs. This definitely has the more advanced shocks. So here are the key fobs. Functionality on them is the same. They both have lock and unlock, remote start, tailgate drop down, and then you guys can see the manufacturer logos there on the back. Now, when it comes to payload capacities, 1,006, 1,720 pounds towing capacity. This can tow up to like over 11,000, 12,000 pounds, whereas that's going to be maxed out right around 9,000 pounds roughly, because again, the payload figure is so low that you won't really be able to go above that. Anyways, when it comes to bed effects, this has the cool multi-pro setup, which is this whole tailgate step system with the sound system in it, which is pretty cool. And then you guys can see we got LED lights here, as well as a full power outlet, and then spray and bed liner. I'm actually have to switch arms for this. I pulled my left arm lifting this up earlier. I know, apparently I'm weak. But anyways, popping over to the Tremor. This one's more basic, as you can see, and that's where this comparison's not perfect. You can get bed liner in here, you can get LED lights, all that, and then you can also get like an auto raise for the tailgate, but this one, well, doesn't have it. Now, finishing things up with rear style, we got a little Tremor badge. You notice we got the dual exhaust tips here at the bottom, and then we got the recovery points there. And then we also have recovery points here with the AT4X. And then notice the exhaust tips, how they kind of point downwards to help out with departure. But again, boxy kind of design there on the GMC, whereas the Ford, still boxy, but not as boxy, if that makes sense. Now, popping inside with the Tremor, this is where the gold theme continues here. And then, like I said, this comparison is not perfect. This has the base seats As you can see, they're really cool. You can get full leather seats though in the Tremor package if you want. And then you can get stuff like heated seats in the back, all of that in terms of creature comforts. But I'll quickly pop in here so you guys can see legroom and then headroom as well. So with the AT4X, you guys can see a lot more luxury themed. And then especially here with the seats, notice we got the behind the seat storage. See down below. And then under seat storage as well. Flat loading floor, just like the Ford. And then popping in, a little bit harder to get in. Needs side steps. I know those rock rails are cool, but side steps would also be great. Anyways, legroom, got heated seats back here, all that. And then headroom's also great back here. And then here at the front with the Ford, again, that theme of gold continues. Notice automatic for the window controls. And then you guys can see blind spot marker with the mirrors. If you get the more loaded up one, you get stuff like memory seats, for example. And then you can get like a speaker in the headrest. Notice Tremor logo there. And then again, like I said, full leather for the front seats instead of these seats with cloth and everything. And then we've got like all of our light controls, power adjustable steering wheel in the more loaded up one as well. And popping in. Ooh. So again, that theme of like gold continues on the steering wheel. You got stuff like adaptive cruise control. And then this one has the half analog, half digital gauge cluster. The loaded up one will have a full digital gauge cluster, just like a Lariat. And then you can see here with all the different drive modes we can go between. There's both on-road and off-road drive modes, which is pretty cool. Then something else to note, this has like the more basic material on the dash. The more loaded up one has like the nice trim that you'll see in like the Lariat here, and then also here as well. And then popping into reverse, this one still has a 360 camera system, which is great. So you can see it of like every single angle with the truck resolution is also really solid. And then as for the rest of the infotainment system, response time with this is great. Notice this also comes with Ford's, I don't know why that happened. Anyways, this also comes with Ford's trail turn assist. I tried to turn the volume down and pulled up as well, which is great. And then down below, we do have dual zone climate. You will get ventilated seats as well in the more loaded up one. And then you guys can see the drive line select. We've got 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel high, 4-wheel low. This one doesn't have 4-wheel auto, but the loaded up one has 4-wheel auto. And we have a rear locking differential. And you can see here at the center console, pretty big with the storage space. And then I love this on the glove box. I think it's pretty cool with that whole setup right there. And then we got 6 auxiliary switches here at the top. You can get a panoramic sunroof in the Tremor, and then you can also get a power sliding rear window. For those of you that are wondering, this is the only Tremor that's available right now. All the other ones are sold out. That's just kind of how things work with this truck. Now popping to the AT4X, you guys can see really nice trim here all over the door panel, and then with our window controls automatic, you got memory seats, blind spot marker with the mirrors. No speaker in the headrest, but we do have the AEV logo, which is pretty cool. And you can see all the trim down below. Massaging seats as well. You can't get massaging seats even in the loaded up Tremor. Power adjustment for the steering wheel, heads up display, controls for the light controls, your drive line and drive mode select in the same area. And then popping in, yeah, gotta step up pretty high. Ooh. So here's the steering wheel. It's pretty much the same as any other Sierra steering wheel. It does have custom stitching, which is pretty cool. It matches the stitching throughout. Paddle shifters here in the back as well. Radio controls, heat steering wheel button on the steering wheel with our cruise control. And then we do have our full digital gauge cluster here with like the drive mode select, so we can pop it in tow haul mode, for example. We also have an off-road mode and a terrain mode on top of that. And then just like the Ford, we got a 360 camera system. This one though, I feel like is a little bit better because it gives you these wheel shots, which are really cool. And then as for the rest of the infotainment system itself, we always got to do the OK thing here. Thank you, GM product. Response time with the screen is really good. Frankly, it's easy to use. It's got Android Auto, Apple CarPlay. I feel like it's just as good as the Fords. And then down below, you got a dual zone climate controls, heated and cooled seats. And then down below that, you can see we've got our hill descent control. We don't have trail turn assist or anything, but we do have a front and rear locking differential. It's pretty cool. And then shifter for the 10-speed, trailer brake controls just behind that. And then here's the center console. It does have a wireless phone charging pad and a full power outlet and everything inside. I like the trim here on the top. I think it's pretty sweet. And then we do have our double glove box. Yeah, look at the trim there. And then the dash as well. I'd say that even, the loaded up Tremor doesn't have a like dash layout that looks as nice and high quality as this. Camera rear view mirror, and then a nice headliner. Load up Tremor doesn't have that. And then we do have a power sunroof, power sliding rear window. So when it comes to pricing, these two specific trucks sticker for, well, $90,000 there and then $67,000 there. However, if you get like a base AT4X, you're just over $80,000. If you get a loaded up Tremor, which would compete against, you know, a base AT4X, then you're looking at about mid-70s, like $74,000, $75,000 in terms of the price. So the AT4X will still be more expensive, even if we had more comparable vehicles today. Now to quickly sum things up by talking about driving, and I've driven both these vehicles quite extensively, and so I have a really good idea of how they drive. Here's what it comes down to is the GMC definitely, you know, feels like a larger vehicle. Again, it is heavier compared to the Ford just because of the construction. Despite that though, it still drives really well. It feels really smooth. I feel like both of them are pretty comparable. However, the shocks on the GMC are better, and so it does have better absorption over bumps, although the Ford is really good. Again, it has a slightly wider track, and especially those twin tube in the rear, those really do help out with absorption, at least on road. And then, you know, when it just comes to like the rest of the daily driving stuff, they both have really powerful engines, and so they're both very, you know, desirable trucks overall, I would say. And I think it's just going to come down to which one is easier for you to get, and then which one fits more within your budget. I think that, you know, for most people, they're probably going to end up going for the Tremor just because it's a little bit less expensive than this well, not a little bit, it's like $15,000 less expensive than this GMC if you get like a loaded up Tremor. But I guess if someone wanted, you know, kind of like a more special feeling vehicle, because there's not going to be nearly as many of these AT4Xs, especially with the AEV packages on the road, then that's definitely going to provide that. But again, it's one of those things where you got to kind of pay to play. But you do get more features. Again, massaging seats. I would say that, again, like I said, more advanced shocks. And I think that this truck does look cooler. I mean, I know that looks, you know, are obviously going to be personal preference, but like with this AEV package, I think it just is a better looking truck overall. Let me know which one you would pick, Tremor or AT4X. See ya.